Tim.
Number one is I really don't have a whole lot for streets, so if you have any questions, ask, because I don't have a whole lot tonight. Talked to Chris today, and they are still patching some potholes and going around and checking all those issues in the city, but with the weather being halfway decent for December, we're in pretty good shape. So going around doing that. I suppose if you're running around and seeing something that needs a pothole needs fixed, just give Chris a quick call and she'll be right out on it. With only one snowfall so far, we have 300 tons of rock salt. Hopefully that will stay that way until January.
That's what's in the salt barn right now?
Yep, 300 tons.
Hopefully it'll stay that way.
You waited.
Kind of a boring day. And so, we're being in good shape. And if we would have to order any, we can pay for it after the first of the year. So
Okay.
we are in pretty good shape there.
And Bob, refresh my memory. How much was in the bin before we put our bid in with the state, and how much did we commit to the state?
I think we committed around 500 tons.
Okay.
But
we got to buy 80% of that, and we can go up to.
Well, they lowered it to 10%. It used to be 20%. Now they lowered it to 10%.
So you got to buy 90%, and you could only get 110% at that price.
Right. Yeah, they lowered that.
Okay.
Why?
Oh, hey, the state's helping us all over the place. Why shouldn't they do that? Yeah.
Why shouldn't they?
Jeez.
So hopefully it'll stay that way. I looked at my weather forecast, and they're still saying December 24th, no snow. So hopefully it stays.
Are we supposed to maybe get something Saturday?
Yeah, they said possible.
It's possible, but I didn't see.
I'm not complaining. I mean, it's been 100% better than what it was last year. I actually went and got my car washed today at Go Clean. In the middle of December, I couldn't believe. Well, the other day there were about 3,000 birds up in the tree right where my driveway ends, and they used my car as target practice.
I told the mayor it must have been political.
Number 3 street
signs. We had some street signs that were misspelled up in Willow Ridge, and those have been replaced. Have you noticed those?
Yes, thank you.
They spelled Piedmont right, but they misspelled street, so we know.
No.
S-T-R-I-E-T.
You're welcome.
Anyway, they have replaced those signs, so they were done. And I wanted to do a little refresher course on mailboxes.
Bob, I'm sorry, before we get off that topic. I know that we had somebody hit the old wooden sign at the intersection of Blackfoot and Linville Road. Mm-hmm. Do you know when that new street sign is going to be installed?
No, but if the weather stays okay, they should do that.
Okay.
So I'll write that down.
Okay.
That's Linville and
Linville by the fire station there. Linville and Blackfoot.
Okay. Did you catch the guy who hit the sign?
No.
Okay. Did you check all the fire trucks?
Yeah. It wasn't.
With snow coming, which we know is going to be coming sometime, we always have the issue of mailboxes, and we get the calls, or the mayor gets the calls, or does the women in the office at City Hall get the calls, or council gets calls, or Keith. I said, well, the women and
the women give those calls to me if he isn't there.
Yeah. So, how we do this again?
Bob just doesn't bother answering his phone.
I don't want to.
I'm just kidding.
No matter how true it is.
If we physically hit a mailbox with a plow, which means the plow hits the mailbox, we will replace that. If snow...
And our guys are good about reporting it, because things like that happen. I mean, nobody gets blasted for having, accidentally hit somebody's mailbox. So there's no reason why any of the street department guys would not want to say that they hit it, because, things like that happen. So,
and if it is snow hitting the mailbox and the mailbox falls down, then, we do not replace the mailbox. Now, a lot of times it comes down to the residents swear that that's what happened, but if you go out and inspect it, you can pretty much tell if we hit it or whether it was snow. And a lot of mailboxes in the city, people don't do any repair work on them. They're leaning over, the box is ready to fall off, and if it gets hit by snow, it goes down. Mm-hmm. And that's not our responsibility. So if you get a call, those are the things that you can tell people. They won't like it, and then if they don't like it, we will go out and inspect it. And I would say, we're not. We try to please the resident as much as we can. So maybe if we think there's no way, but it's close, maybe then we will replace it. But we try.
There's times where we see that there's wood rot. If it's a wooden post there's times that we can see that the wood has rotted. That a blue jay landing on it would have made the thing fall over, and it's not our fault. We shouldn't have to replace them because we're trying to clear snow off the road, and it hit their box and snapped it there at the bottom of its pole.
And there's been some instances where people, for whatever reason, buy really, 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 really expensive mailboxes. So it's just an issue. So just want to remind you that's our rules. And hopefully they'll understand that. Or if you know people, you can say, hey, maybe we should do a mailbox check, thing that, hey, your mailbox needs to be repaired because of any snow. And it's it's not the light snow that does it, it's the heavy snow. The heavy snow is heavy.
Heavy
snow,
snow, the way it'll take it over the heartbeat.
So
My neighbor had one, he said, they'll probably get it. Last year he said, they'll probably get it this winter. And I said, well, and I surely wanted a new one, so she'd already bought it. So I had one that goes down 4 feet steel. That gave him that. He's hacking in the lark.
That'll stick around a while.
Yes, it will.
it's always been an issue, so we just have to deal with it. But so
You
our
may need a
policy.
new plow blade.
Mayor of Kingston, Tennessee gave that one to me.
I will never forget going on a ride-along, and I rode with Jeff Penrose before he was the street superintendent. And of course, he's sitting in the driver's seat, and I'm sitting on the side where you're getting really close to things. And I tell you what, I don't know, I was a nervous wreck by the time I was done with it, because it felt like he was missing signs and mailboxes like that far. I think, how could he possibly get that close? Because he would, do the berm as best he could, but I never did that again.
The old
They told me
rule.
not to look,
The
so
old
I just
rule.
watched them and talked with them. I would have went through the same.
Oh, yeah.
The old rule, especially when Smitty was there and some of the older ones, you plow curb to curb. So if you're in an area, Southgate, which they don't have mailboxes, but where I live, or Greenbrier, places like that, it's curb to curb. So they were adamant of putting that blade right on the curb, and if there happened to be a mailbox leaning over, too bad, because they would have gotten it if they weren't plowing curb to curb. And I put in the common sense rule a little bit.
Stay away
you
a little
could just
Yeah.
because it's a big headache when you do that. So,
Yeah.
so we tried to help it a little bit, but anyway.
The guys do a good job, and everybody should know that they don't. If they do something, it's not intentional. And again, like I said, nobody gets called to the carpet too much if they hit a mailbox. So there's no incentive for them to not say. You
Well,
know,
they know they're
if they
gonna-
hit it, we want to know that they hit it.
And
They're good about
most of the time when they do hit mailboxes, it's because something they have hit ice or something that jogged them over, or they have slid, you know, something. And then if they do happen to see the mailbox go down, they say something like, "Oh, you're going to get a call."
Yeah.
I've never had anybody say, "No, I didn't hit anything." Sometimes they don't know.
But my son was down the other day, and he says, I wish Medina County would take some notes off of Heath. He said, our streets, he said, you see where they're patching them? He said, they always plow the snow off. He said, those guys don't do nothing up there. He said, when they patch them, they don't do them, and they last through one rain. I don't know. He said, they look like they just shovel some dirt in it or something.
In the potholes, you mean? Is that?
Sometimes they don't adhere too well.
Yeah.
And it's you can take your blade and wipe them out. And ours is even worse because our blades are right down on the pavement. You know, north. I think you guys put their little things on there with the rubber so they don't go all the way down. Save the blades,
some
I
places.
guess. Yeah.
Some of them are also.
So anyway, that's your refresher course. So.
What's the thinking behind that, Tim? It doesn't scrape so much on the asphalt. Is that why they do that?
Well, there's different thoughts and stuff.
Some the ice out.
The metal blades, if you run them all the time, well, if you hit a manhole, you really know it. Or water boxes and stuff, you peel them, break them, and everything up and stuff on them. It does help get down closer and stuff. But sometimes you wear the blade, and then you're changing the blades all the time and stuff. So sometimes they use the rubber edge and stuff. That way, it kind of blows and squishes. Kind of acts like a squeegee when it's watery and stuff like that. There's different pluses and minuses to each one, and everything. But sometimes you get that rubber, and it almost makes like a Zamboni kind of effect. You know what I mean? It makes it slicker.
Yeah.
When you get done, it's slicker and behind it than
Yeah.
it was before.
Yeah.
It makes a nice.
Because you created that friction
It
and
fills all the nooks and crannies in, and just
Yeah.
makes it nice.
Yeah.
Everything sometimes. So yeah, there's plus and minus to each one on them and everything.
I see.
All right.
The next one, the new dump truck. I talked to Chris today, and he said that the truck is being painted, and hopefully we will have it.
Do we have everything in it and everything
I
works
think
and
everything's
everything's?
ready to go. They were waiting on some hydraulic hoses that weren't right on the back of the truck, and they got those in and replaced them, and now he said they're painting it, and we should have it by the I guess.
And then control is
Yeah, remote control.
dispose of the other one.
Yes.
Probably. I guess my recommendation would be to maybe wait till March or April. I think that's more of a construction season type thing. If the auditor wants me to come in and help him do eBay, I'll be glad to do that. That'll be a fun listing because that's going to go for some money.
Yeah.
I do believe.
Yeah. Make sure, Bob, that they're gathering, if they haven't already, that they've gathered up the maintenance records and such on that vehicle, so that when we give it to Jay to eBay, he's got what he needs.
And other items, I sent this email to the mayor. Did you get it on the 79 going into First Federal?
Yes.
Savings. I wanted to bring it up tonight.
Go ahead.
I kind of looked at it a little bit, and I'll read it to you. I think this is from Ryan West.
Yeah, he's the manager at that
branch.
branch.
We have several customer complaints about their safety when turning left, heading southbound on 79 into our driveway. So that is the bank that's right before Kroger's as you're heading south. And there is a driveway there.
Right beside White Castle. There's a driveway to get into that bank right before the White Castle property.
And you go from 79 just kind of across the
And-
3-4 lanes.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I looked at it tonight.
What do they do? What do they?
Well, I am wondering if the left-hand turn lane that is meant for the Kroger Plaza could be extended further north of 79 to include our driveway. Now, what I saw today is where their driveway starts, the turn lane is maybe just past a little bit of a driveway, or might even include just a little bit of a driveway, but it's angled. It's like this, but it's angled like this, and their driveway might be right here. so it doesn't extend in front of the driveway, but it's close. But I have really looked at it. I have not been there one time where I couldn't turn into that driveway. I wouldn't worry about turning left into there. I haven't seen anything.
When I read that email, Bob, this was my thought. I remember when we were doing the 79 median project, and the turn lane that goes as you're heading southbound, just coming into Heath, the turn lane there, take a left-hand turn onto Hopewell. That turn lane is extended to where people were stopping at the beginning part of that turn lane to turn left into the Matthews Ford entrance there by the quick lane place. And that's a traffic hazard because people are expecting the traffic to flow down to Hopewell. And when you get in that lane and then you get in behind that person and that person stops quicker to turn, you're not expecting that. You're thinking, so I remember there was a concern about that, and there's now actually a pork chop in front of that entrance to a quick lane, and it's supposed to prevent people from making that left-hand turn into there. And I remember that the reason being for it was if we weren't going to put the median there, the median would have prevented those left-hand turns into that entrance, and you wouldn't have had to worry about people stopping quick in that left-hand turn lane. That was the thought that came to my mind when I read that email. Now, I would imagine there are probably more than one other instance of things like that where, you know, if you extended it, it could encompass another entrance or something like that. You know, when I head southbound and go there into that bank, I turn on 30th Street and come around behind Olive Garden. I just don't even try to make a left.
If traffic is bad, you would have some problems.
Yeah.
But it just seems like, I guess when I drive during the day, I drove there on the way
I
here.
wouldn't make that.
It was okay when I was
Yeah.
there then, but sometimes
My-
it's probably difficult.
My fear is that dynamic that I remember being discussed there up by Matthews Ford and Hopewell Drive. I don't know how many cars queue into that left-hand turn lane. You know, I would almost say a better solution is to shorten that left-hand turn lane if you don't have a lot of cars to queue, so that there's no confusion as to this is a left-hand turn lane if you're going to turn left there at that light to get into Kroger. This is a, you know, one of these deals like we have on that part of 79 where you can go either way. That was my thought when I read the email. I understand the concern. I just don't know that that's a very good solution because it could cause more problems.
I think in one of the discussions that we had sometime down the road, one of the highway engineers or either our Jobson Henderson people said, oh, just what you said, we feel it's safer for them to turn on 30th or go down to Kroger's. They can access at both ways, the safest. He said that driveway shouldn't even be there. But they do it.
That is right. But the thing is,
Turn in from
people that
79.
are on the or, you know, heading, you know, up 79, they can turn in and they're fast. Maybe it ought to be a right in, right out only. That's what it should be. Right in and right out.
Get the
That's it.
Okay.
And that's the way, that's why that pork chop is there where
Right.
that Matthews Ford entrance is, was
Right.
for that purpose.
Right.
WOcounty.com.
Bob, maybe that should be what it is.
What's the restaurant next to
It should be changed to right only. Right in and right out.
This is, and then the entrance is kind of,
White Castle's right there.
you know, White House is like right here. But you're going down, and then this starts to go over to do this turn where the light is, and their driveway is just kind of right where that.
Yeah, but
gets that angle.
But I can see what the guy's saying, that if you took and moved that back, Bob, you see what I'm saying? Then people could actually move over there.
But here's the problem. The purpose for that left-hand turn lane is not to turn into the bank. The purpose of that left-hand turn lane is to turn at the light there at Kroger.
That's right.
And this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When,
You're right.
when this topic came up with that Matthews Ford entrance there on 79,
Right.
you know, you couldn't shorten that turn lane. Way too many cars queue up into that lane to turn onto Hopewell.
Yeah.
But that's why the pork chop was put in. It's a right turn in, and a right turn out of that entrance there to Matthews Ford.
And that was the smartest thing.
Well, we had that in front of McDonald's too on 30th Street. Of course,
Jeff mentioned that it's there if you want to get into Tumbleweed and you're heading south.
That's
right.
That's a right in, right out there. Off it.
otherwise I
Otherwise,
see people, you know,
And that's really what
turning
that,
in.
that's really what that should do, is right in and right
If the
out.
branch manager did his job, he reported it.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Right.
And I haven't talked to Ryan yet
They
about
wouldn't
it,
do
but
anything.
And I haven't
again, that's
talked
just
to
that's what I recall as a similar situation and what the concern was. And I was going to share that with Ryan when I
Is
see
that
him.
big a problem?
There you go, Bob.
Brian's got something, Doug. Recognize Brian.
Pass it around.
If you extended that lane, I agree with you,
the
Mayor,
lane the way I have
because I've seen that happen up
there,
here, it still
maybe
doesn't matter.
Can you see it?
But if you do that, you're gonna take away from the left-hand lane going northbound, going left on 30th Street, because those lanes do that.
Does it-
There's nothing in the middle, I
Is
don't
that
believe.
is that the way it is?
Yeah, I get the photo here. We've
Now
passed it
see,
out.
and traffic queues up into that left to turn
Yeah,
on to
they do.
30th all the time.
Yeah.
And not only that, I mean, the thing, I mean, we're talking about going right in, right out, the bank, that's the last thing they want. They want their customers to have the option.
There's the
You just
bank.
say that customers would like to see
Yeah,
a
you
change.
come along here, here's
I
where
agree
you're
with
talking
you. You
about.
really
Goes
can't
there.
do it.
So first
Especially
you go
because
right
we're
here.
coming
You'll
northbound.
see all these curves.
There's two left-hand turn lanes.
Yeah, you want to bring these, get filled out sometimes to turn.
Yeah, and this here always backs
So,
up.
Bob,
Yeah.
like on
It
30th
wouldn't,
Street by
see.
McDonald's,
Right.
is that not allowed to be turned into?
No, not left. Not turning left, going north.
Happens all the time.
30th.
Yeah.
See,
You
there's
have
your
to
left
turn
lane.
in, and I
Here's
look,
the
you have to,
driveway.
is there
So
actually
if you'd extend it back here,
sign
these would
to
be
left
short enough a
turn
little
lane?
bit
Yeah.
to get in.
And
you know.
these always.
I don't know.
Yes.
But you can't make
But
it.
probably
Yeah.
when you come up
The number of
to
cars
it,
that want to turn in here,
but
they go two other ways to
you
get
can
there.
go,
I mean, you're
you can
making,
go right
trying to
or
make a
left.
mountain out of a molehill to try to,
but you can't. Yeah, but you can't.
Well,
Turn, but you can't turn in.
yeah, you'd be better off here changing that.
From
circle.
coming
Get
out
out
of
of here.
Because
You can't even
it's
get
It's a
in.
right in, right out
Yeah.
only,
Right in
but
and
Yeah.
but
people do it.
It's not posted.
yeah, they do it all the time.
It's not supposed to come out and turn left.
I don't know whether it's posted or not.
It's not there.
Yeah, I
So,
noticed it's
like I said, I see Ryan here and there everywhere. So, do you guys want me to share that feedback with Ryan?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Well, he
Next time I see him,
continued.
I'll talk to him.
Right. He continues to say, I don't know if this is a major complaint for Heath residents, but I thought I would bring the issue to your attention.
Yep. He did his job, like Dick said.
What's his last?
West.
Okay, good.
And that's all I have.
I got one item that ran into property owner 43 Dorsey Mill Road. Esther Moore, her name is. Lived there for 8 or 9 years. She's very concerned with deer crossing right across the road on Dorsey Mill down into Hoback Park. Not just at dawn and dusk, but all times of the day. Her phone number is 522-3285 if you want to check it out, Bob.
I've addressed that in years past, and the answer is always no. What's deer crossing?
So it's a
sign?
deer crossing sign, so if you wouldn't mind giving her a call, and
Tell her no again.
you know what?
What was her last name?
Moore, Esther Moore.
I've never seen a deer
Oh, I
crossing.
know.
A deer crossing sign.
Esther Moore, 522-3285.
I want them down there on 2nd Street.
I was going to say, how many would you have in your
I want them in my
neighborhood?
yard.
Like, how many?
a lot.
Well,
All right,
Esther,
we'll
You
do
can,
that.
you can address that
she
for
don't
me,
want the
please.
deer hit. But she feeds us everything.
I just,
She used to be my next door neighbor.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, jeez. I tell you, Bob just tell her that deer got to keep snakes away, and she'll be happy when she sees snakes.
she's more concerned with traffic accidents, obviously.
Well, but you can have, I mean, again, if you have all the signs you want, it doesn't mean anybody's going to slow down, and they never will. I mean, I've heard that. So,
That's
signs
because
don't
of the
make any
speed you
difference, and it
travel.
costs us money. So, huh?
That's because of the speed you travel.
Maybe.
Speeds only 25 anyway.
Yeah, it's only 25.
35 to 50.
Just a thought.
Is that it then?
Anything else?
Nothing else, we'll
Adjourned at 5:55.
Thank you.
All right, you ready to start again now? We will call Parks, Recreation, and Davis Shea to order at 5:56.
Bob, I apologize. Can I get a park sheet too, please? Do you have park sheets?
Yeah.
Do you guys need park sheets? You got one?
Mike can't get one.
Maybe I
Don't think I gave him one.
First item on the agenda will be Christmas at City Hall.
I just didn't print one
All the information.
10 more days to that, though.
I just got, I mean, like, it was in my chair when I came in here. I just got some information Jan had wanted me to share with you. It's her comprehensive report of the Christmas event. Let me start those, go down that way, and I'll start those go down.
Did they decorate the yard out here too? That really looks good.
What's that?
Did they decorate the yard and all that, your trees?
Mm-hmm.
That really looked nice.
Jenna assisted, volunteered to help them this year. Becky, I think you were outside helping. I think this year, or no, you were inside.
Yeah, I was right here inside.
Jenna was stationed over here where they came in to then go see Santa. I think the count was something like 670 people. She probably has the exact figure on there. I think it was something like 670 people that came through. There were quite a few who came to see Santa arrive on the fire truck at 6 o'clock. And so there was a long line of people outside. And it was a kind of a chilly evening, not bitter cold, but it was chilly. And so there were a number of people who, waiting in the line and seeing it not move very fast, decided to go ahead and head home. But I think, and I don't know, maybe Jeff was working in the Salvation Army trailer there, helping with the hot chocolate. Becky was right here, and maybe the sense I got when I came, just to kind of come through and see how things were flowing. There were a lot of kids, and there were a lot of smiles.
Oh, yeah.
is what I saw. So, I mean, what did you guys see, or whatever?
Well, this room was all done in trains for those of you that got to see it prior to. So I kind of got the end of the trail here, but they just kept seeing different things. So Thomas was the biggest hit, Thomas the train. So he was a big hit, but kids just really enjoy it. So I just kept talking about Santa, and he's around the corner, and I've got some really good questions. Is it the real Santa? Is it the real elves? Where's the little elves? All kinds of good stuff.
Yeah,
So.
just a fake guy right
But yeah, lots of good comments. So
I was one of the people that came and didn't wait because I thought it could be rude to walk in past all those people in line, and I had to listen to my dad, but I could see it was obviously a huge success. So kudos to everybody that had a part in it.
You know, something that, and I'm trying to see here. I don't want to, from the Department of Redundancy Department. I'm looking to see here if she has this comment, but I don't see it. She got Frisch's helped out quite a bit. They had Big Boy here in somebody in a big boy get up. They had where were they from? Licking Memorial Health Systems was here with some stuff. Jan felt like a lot of these corporate partners were one of the reasons why they were happy to get involved is because they were working with the city, and she felt like that will bode well for us in the execution of the 50th anniversary celebration, because obviously they'll be working with the city on that as well. But certainly big thank yous to all of the local businesses that helped to get involved and provide support and even some of the handouts and stuff for the event. So that's all. I'm not going to go into huge detail like she would, but I think you can read it and get what you need. Yeah.
The very last sentence.
Oh, hold on one second. What is that?
What is this?
That was what they had.
The very last sentence on the paper, right?
To help advertise.
Yeah.
I'll help explain.
It says
if the event is held,
I think that should be dignity of the event, not indignity.
Someone explain what that last sentence means. I have no idea what it's supposed to mean.
I don't know what that means either.
I think she made
It's almost like a double, triple negative kind of a thing.
Yeah. I have no idea what that means.
And even if she meant dignity, what
It doesn't make sense. Yeah, it doesn't make sense either. I don't understand what it's supposed to mean.
I don't get that.
Wow, I can nail an English teacher finally.
Yeah, get your red pens out.
I'm our ruler. I would get somebody else. Before you take on Jan, I have somebody else.
Yeah. You may want to have the English dean at Harvard take a look at that.
I think it's meant to say the integrity of it.
Integrity, I bet that was
Integrity.
And that has to do with some of the problems that were here of just the large crowds and the waiting in line and maybe some of the suggestions that were made to her, what she thinks maybe is important. So I think that's what she's talking about.
She probably did mean integrity.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what.
Bob Geller making an interpretation. This is impressive, Bob.
Of Jan Wilkins.
Look at another note of Jan Wilkins, you of all people. Be sure that
I've been around Jan a lot.
Yes,
I know she.
Deb, if you would please make a note of that.
Bob corrected Jan.
Yes, Bob.
It's on video.
There you go. That's right.
I was just
Send an email to her and say, what exactly that means?
Jan, I was defending you.
Jan, I was
The
close.
responsible for that should be the city. She told us, she said, and I think I feel what she said, that is for working people like her, it's the only chance for her to get her kid to Santa. Because the others, like the mall, is for commercial reasons, and they won't take you and talk to Santa unless you take a picture. And said this fills a big need, and I think that's really good.
You shouldn't have to pay to see Santa.
All right, that's right.
Anything else on that? I guess my only comment was that Mary Lehman has a lot of stuff.
Yeah, sure does.
Yes, she does.
She has a lot of
She
stuff.
must have one heck of a big face.
A lot of stories.
She got a
I
big
know
house.
women love stories. She has a lot of stories.
So you live on Clarence, right?
Of course, she's not married.
She's got a big house.
She's got all that Halloween stuff.
Number 2, the park board appointment. Don Chester has agreed to continue to be on the park board. She's a good board member for us. Those are for 5 years. Is that on the agenda tonight?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for 5 years.
And it is Don, right?
Yeah, it's done. Yeah.
You did look that up, Don.
Yep.
I usually don't give him an option. Sometimes I just put him on and don't even ask him. Tell him later, like, hey, you're appointed to the park board. Oh. So
you don't have a waiting list for those, Bob?
What's that?
You don't have a waiting list for that?
What is done?
Not normally.
What is he?
We do meet during the day. It makes it a little bit easier. People don't like to go out in the evenings anymore. And some of them come during the lunch hour, and it's worked out well for us.
Good point.
You buy them a free lunch?
I bought them.
You buy them a free lunch?
Well, we used to have lunch at the Shea House, but
That's my
we don't do that anymore. We had, but I did buy them lunch at the block pizza, and they were very happy, and they want that every time.
Anything else noteworthy for the
Can
park?
council members attend?
Okay. Tim. Okay. So you know what? I don't.
Council members attend.
You know what? We'll hold that till next week.
Special meeting.
I don't mean
You
you
can
get a free
represent
pizza.
yourself.
You get a free
I know.
pizza. I know.
The next thing on the agenda.
I don't know. I don't know anything about that.
Our retirements within the Parks Department. If you don't know, Jimmy Craner will be leaving, and that changes from day to day, either the end of February, the end of March, or sometime in that vicinity. And then the other one is Craig White. And Craig bought some of his time and is going to retire. His last day will be, it's either Tuesday or Wednesday this week.
Wednesday.
Wednesday, and then he is taking vacation until January the 31st, and that will be officially retired. And with that, we opened up the supervisor position in the parks, which along with that goes opening the pool, which will be a very, very, very important position to have, because opening the pool is not the easiest thing in the world to do. We're going to retain Mr. Mitchell, who was pool manager for 30 years, and he will help Ron with that transition. But there are some things that Craig knows that probably some people don't know. So we're going to have to feel our way through, or we may even have to get a little bit of consulting from the company who built the pool to make sure we're doing everything right with that first year. It was a surprise that he's leaving this early. We thought we had a little bit of time, but he decided to leave earlier, so we have to deal with what we have to deal with. That we'll do the best we can, but we may have to pay a little bit in order to make sure that everything is right.
I thought you'd have to use 2 or 3 people to do that.
Craig did a lot. No doubt. He was a great employee. Craig's got 28 years in, so we worked together for 28 years. You know, the first 20 we worked side by side for 20 years, until I became head of the department. So, and I've known Craig since he's been 5 years old, because he lived next door to him. I taught him how to hit a baseball, I think, and we tried to figure out which way to hit it, because he's ambidextrous. He wanted to bat right, but he wasn't hitting anything, so we tried left, so we kind of settled. He's right-handed, but he bats left, so we went through all that with him. So we'll miss him, and it's a little sad that he's leaving, but that's what he wants to do, so we'll continue on.
So are you in the process of filling both of those positions?
Today, by 4:30, they have to have their application in for the park supervisor job. Now, as of 10 or 11 this morning, Ron was the only one that turned one in. I don't know what the result was by 4:30. But there is a stipulation in the job description that you have to have 5 years experience within the parks department and have experience in the pool. And Ron has some of that. You know, he did go through with Craig on the closing of the pool this year, but our plan was to have him do an opening in 2015 and close it, and then another opening. So, but our plan got cut short a little bit, so Ron has some experience.
So
and then Mr. Mitchell will provide a lot more.
Mr. White.
What's that?
Mr. Brown may replace Mr. White.
Yes.
In all likelihood,
Yes, if he is the only one that puts in,
Then I'll ask civil service to waive the
Could be his
processing.
brother-in-law.
We'll have his.
it's all connected. And then we will have, and then when Jimmy leaves, we'll have to ask for transfers, and then if that doesn't happen, then we would have to hire someone from the outside.
Ron's got to be feeling a little lonely at this point, isn't he?
You, Ron?
Trainer's gone, White's gone. Who's left? Just them, right? Is
Yeah.
there anybody else in that department?
Nope.
You think you're
He's in control.
See Bob on about it?
As long as we'll do 30 mile an hour, right?
Yeah. So, that's that. So we will go through the process and let you know how it goes with that.
Weren't those two both plowing snow at one time too?
Yeah.
Well, losing Jimmy, Jimmy's really good at what he does for the plowing of the snow.
Yeah.
I think Craig will still be there if he's called in. I think because he's really officially a city employee until the end of January. I suppose he can say yay or nay whether he wants
The
to.
trainer's on through, what'd you say, March, February?
Either the end of February or the March, not sure.
So he'll at least get us through another.
He should get us through the winter. And he definitely, I mean, he's a guy that you can send out on the east side, which is the most dangerous place.
Treacherous side, yeah.
And but we, hopefully the people we get will be able to do what they did. So we're in transition. The fourth agenda item is, and I guess I'll ask, some things came up with the bike paths, and it was with the police. And then we found out that the ordinance wasn't real clear, because we changed the ordinance in 2003. That we made an ordinance before that no dogs were allowed in city parks, and that was because of elderly people came to us. They came to this committee meeting and complained that people were letting the dogs run loose and they were scared, especially big dogs. And they would be walking the path in Gellert Park, and some big dog would be coming at them, and they didn't know if it was a friendly dog or not a friendly dog. And then also the people were picking up after themselves, and there was stuff over the place, and we were having cross-country meets, and it wasn't a good thing. So through this committee, we decided not to allow dogs in city parks.
Bulldogs just have to scout that stuff out and know where to go.
It would be an obstacle course. So then we brought in the bike paths. And then with the bike paths, we wanted people to be able to walk their dogs on the bike paths. And we stipulated that you had to have a 6-foot leash or shorter leash, because sometimes these people get these leashes and it goes out 30 feet. And you're really not controlling your dog. And we didn't want the dog messing with certain things. So anyway, we allowed dogs there, but we had to change the ordinance. And the way that I wrote the ordinance was to amend ordinance 951.05 to allow dogs on designated walkways and bike trails. And then in the comments of the ordinance, I commented, which we would have to change now, designated walkways, bike trails include path from River Oaks subdivision to Irvingwood Bridge to the Riverfront Walkway parking lot, and Riverfront Walkway to Heath High School parking lot. Of course, now we also have Hopewell, going from Irvingwood Drive to Hopewell Drive. So that would have to be added, but the ordinance read, you can tell me what you think. Dogs are prohibited in parks and on trail paths. Well, that's not exactly how I want them to be allowed on trail paths. And it says dogs prohibited in parks and on trail paths. No person, except for an individual who requires the use of a seeing eye, listener, or helper dog. So no person shall take lead or otherwise permit entry of a dog into any of the following locations: Heath City Parks and bicycle trails or walking paths designated by the Parks Department. So do you think that gives a leeway? I just think that probably shouldn't even be in there at all. But there was some confusion because the police said, because in Gellert Park, you're not allowed to have dogs in that park, even on the walking path.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to have
Yeah.
it. So they were a little
So the ordinance
confused.
needs to say they're not allowed in city parks, and they are allowed on the city's bike paths.
Unless you say something like they're not allowed in city parks except bicycle trails or walking paths designated. I think they left out the word except.
Yeah, technically they are, I guess, considered parks, aren't they?
Right, yeah.
So that's why we had. So anyway, I guess I'm just telling you up front. I'm going to work with Dave Morrison. We kind of went back and forth, and we did. I was going to have this done a month or so ago, and we just kept missing each other. We haven't connected yet, but I will work with him to make sure it's read right, so we understand. And then the police kind of want to have in the ordinance the areas where they are allowed to walk their dog. That's that section I just read to you before, which we would have to add Irving Wick to Hopewell Drive. So we'll work on that.
And add Irving Wick out to the Port Authority Bridge.
Yes,
Yeah.
we don't have that either.
Butch or David, one, told us also that some people control their dogs verbally, and that was acceptable in place of a leash.
Oh.
No,
No, I mean, you can control your dog verbally until you've got a hot dog, and the dog wants the hot dog.
Or a rabbit, or a squirrel, or just chasing it. So we're going to be working on that, and there may be an amendment to that ordinance. So I just want to let you know what was going on with that.
I just say, Bob, on that, you say on the paths and stuff because Debbie walks all the time and everything, and I go with her sometimes. But a lot of people have leashes, but when they get so far, they unleash the dog and let them walk ahead, stuff like that. And there's several we see them all the time, and they know. And the dogs are pretty controlled and stuff, but you don't know how they're going to react to some people. So, of course, some people say, "Oh, he won't bother you," but he still jumps in if you got muddy paws or whatever like that and stuff. So, if you word it, I think
it should always be
worded
on.
Must be on. Don't put shall or should, but use the use devil language and stuff, and have penalties for it, because otherwise people just it's just, oh, he won't hurt nobody.
And I want to see.
And he might not hurt you, but if you got clean pants and there's muddy paws, or the toenail kind of rips your.
The sign down there in Hoback says dogs are allowed on designated walkways, bike trails, but must be on a 6 foot or shorter leash. It says must.
And people have that, and people let them way out until they see someone coming.
That'll ensure that the soup is within a short distance of the path.
There you go.
What's that?
That'll ensure that poop is a short distance from the path, and therefore more easily to step in.
Or right on the path.
And maybe you should say.
They got those telescoping ones.
That way you're on
Right, and I don't know if you want to list every one we ever did. So.
You might do the ordinance for it designated by the parks or mayor, so you don't have to, if the list change, you don't have to change it. You can change that list.
Right.
You know what I mean? By a list of places.
Yeah.
So you don't have to change it every time. The ordinance.
Do we post this ordinance on these bike paths?
Yes, it's posted down at Hoback. It is posted there.
At both ends?
I don't know. I know it's on where you park at.
Maybe we should
about the pool, I think.
invest in a little more signage so we can
Put it
educate our walking public.
Yeah, we can post
They
it.
may say, "Oh, I didn't know. We got a sign
Well,
here."
we have signs that says no dogs in the park as soon as you come in Geller Park, and that means nothing. I mean, that's why I was a little with signs,
Audra,
people
expanding
don't
the
pay
boundaries
attention.
of her newfound driving freedom, decided to take Rudy, our Burns Mountain dog, over to Geller Park for a walk. And I said, "Oh, did you?" Yeah, I get home and she's telling me this. I said, "Oh, did you?" I said, "How'd that go?" And she said, first of all, I would have loved to have seen him. She had to lift him up into her car to get him in the back seat. And he didn't kind of want to sit in the back seat. He wanted to sit up in the front seat with her. But
She needed the help.
But yeah. But I knew, that dogs. I said, "Oh, so how did that go?" And she said, "Not very well. They don't allow dogs in Geller Park." I said,
At least you saw the sign.
"That's what I said. I know. So what did you do?" She said, "I turned around and left." She said, "And I saw a police officer in there too."
It has to have to do with the size.
My daddy's a bear. Walking dog.
And they just knocked the heck out of my ankles, and I couldn't get away from them.
I got
Speaking about dogs in Geller Park, the celebration.
Yes.
There are people who bring them in there
Yes.
on leashes.
I know.
And they walk, just walk right through the gate.
I know.
It's one of your favorite parts of doing parking. I know it.
You love that spot right up
I
there.
like
in the
that
front
spot. I like
Yeah.
that spot. Hey, just like that guy was going to whip me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was ready to fight because I asked him to please wait a minute, hold it.
Yeah.
You've had your ass kicked several times. All those people over there.
Let's just put it this way: you didn't live in the East End of Newark and not get your ass whipped.
This might go.
Oh, that's on TV. That's on television.
Okay, that's all I have.
Was that another item?
That's all I have.
Has anything for parks, recreation, Davis Shades that's not related to poop or?
You're getting your ass kicked?
What would it take to, besides fence, to have a dog park in the city?
Property. I don't know how the Granville one has worked out. They have one in Granville.
I haven't been there in a while.
I've been there a few times.
Behind the wood, what's it? Wood.
Yep.
What is that?
Wildwood.
Wildwood. Yeah. Behind Wildwood Park.
The county park. The county park on Infirmary.
But you're going to have to spend
been
money
there.
to fence it.
That's
And
right.
I don't know who's going to clean it because I'm not. I'm not cleaning it.
Honestly,
well,
I think you have a problem.
Yeah, no, Bob, I think the way that if you have people, if you have people who own a dog, they know whether or not their dog is socialized with other dogs or not. Meaning, if they know if their dog is going to cause other trouble for dogs, they don't want to bring him to a park because they know they're going to cause trouble and they're going to have to deal with it.
Oh, and they get called
So,
out too.
yeah, so normally, people who take a dog to a dog park know that their dog behaves well around other dogs. If you have available, and I've seen these because when we lived in Orlando, our bike paths, our walking paths, they had these things every so often. A poop scoop bag dispenser, right? If you have a couple of those things around there, I also think that generally the people who would take their dog to a dog park would clean up after themselves. If for no other reason than unless their dog is the only dog in there, anybody else that's there would shame them into picking up their dog's poop.
That's why they do it in Strongsville.
Infirmary Park. Go up
That's what I do in the front of my
and
house.
Look at the dispenser. Look, I mean, as long as you
You
can
coming back to get that?
Yeah.
the trash can,
Yeah.
poop can, and have plenty of those little baggy things.
Is it fenced?
It will. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It'll.
The one in Granville's fenced.
The other dog
What's that?
owners.
The one in Granville is fenced.
The other
Yeah.
dog owners will self-police the ones that don't
Right.
do it.
Right.
They'll call them out and say, "Buddy,
Yeah.
get over there." I've witnessed it.
Me too. And I don't have a dog that lives at my house, but when I've been going door to door, I will tell you, I don't knock on many doors, but I don't hear dogs behind it.
That's for
You know,
sure.
at least one.
Oh.
You know, at least one.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Bob, I think you need a
Amazing.
dog.
Yeah.
It really is amazing.
You just soften him up.
Yeah, you need to head over to the animal shelter and pick yourself out a nice friend.
You need a rescue dog as soon as possible. Merry Christmas.
I got Ronnie back here with his
I just think it's something that, like the dog paddle on a smaller scale, where we would get people coming into town and spending money, and that's what we want. We want
We'd have to
people.
find a location. You'd have to put the fence up, whatever else needs to be done. I don't know where you can do it and how close you can have it to people.
I got the spot back there.
How about fencing off a piece of Hitchcock Park?
One thing
Never
to be
seen
fenced
somebody
off
out
because I'm willing to sell that part because it's become a nightmare for us.
I know. I know.
One thing to consider on
That may
dogs,
not be a bad place.
That might be a bad place.
we have a dog-friendly park in the city already. It just happens to be an ODNR place, and
The 4A Preserve? Is that what
no,
you
the Great Circle.
Oh.
Good. There's people out there with frisbees and dogs and.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where's
It's
this?
the Great
Circle
Mountain.
Mounds.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, that's kind of can be your excuse that if you're looking for a big open acreage park
Yeah,
that's
it's right
dog
there.
friendly. It's right there.
That's true.
And those dogs, I bet over there, they don't pay attention to you. They got their own agenda. They just go, don't they?
Save this money.
Okay, anything else? Parks. Okay, Parks Recreation David Shea will adjourn at 6:25.
Do I need a 5-minute break, or do you want to go right into finance?
Go right into it. Either one.
Everybody got a copy that wants a copy? All right, we'll call it to order at 6:25. Got one ordinance repealing ordinance 13, 2010, establishing the income tax proportions to 94 3/4% general fund and 5 1/4 debt service.
1, 2, 3, 4. Pass those down, please.
What that percentage is?
1, 2, 3.
Establishing the income tax proportions to 94 3/4% general fund and 5 1/4% debt service.
This would eliminate the 3% allocation into the capital improvement fund for next year. This is expenditures for non-general fund items. The budget as structured, the budget ordinance as structured with our estimated revenue would have us about $325,000 short. I think it's 322 or something like that. Last year's budget as proposed was $375,000 short. Of course, you all know we try to overestimate our expenses. We try to underestimate our revenue. But as Bob indicated that Jim Craner and Craig White are retiring. We have other retirements as well, including John Groff, Steve Blob. Their payouts on sick time and such, when you total them up, when we were putting this budget together, the payouts for people retiring was going to total about $200,000. So the not putting the money into the capital improvement would help to offset that. Now, since we put this budget together, I got some late breaking news. Chief Mason, who was planning to retire next year, is shared with me that there's some things in the department that he would like to get accomplished prior to his leaving. So we're probably looking at a first quarter 2016 for his retirement. So if that ends up being the case, the payouts for retirees next year would not be as much. Also, another reason that I feel comfortable requesting this of council to modify the ordinance regarding the percentages is that last year's, 2013, we ended quite a bit in the black. So much so that in the first quarter of 2014, we allocated some $400 and some thousand more into the capital improvement fund. One of the items that we had on our planning document to spend out of that was to buy an EMS squad to the tune of something like $140,000 to $180,000. Obviously, we didn't spend that money. So, in a way, it's as if you could look at it as that we put in this year's 2015's 3% in 2014 since we put it in but didn't spend it. To do otherwise, of course, would simply just increase the amount, the difference between what the budget would have for revenue and what the budget would have for general fund expenses.
Did you say what the balance was then in capital for 2015?
The unencumbered balance right now in the capital improvement fund is $2 million, give or take a few thousand. It's about $2 million.
And any fire improvements will come out of the new levy, or we won't have that money?
Well, for next year's equipment expenditures, we have, in Fire Levy 1, we have a balance, or we're expecting to have a balance at the end of the year of approximately $350,000 in there. So any equipment or anything, any of the annual items, equipment items that are spent will come out of that fund. The chief has been considering perhaps getting the rescue truck now and having that fund be the source of the down payment on it, and then the revenue from the levy, which will begin collecting that revenue in 2016, could be used for future payments, on that until we get it paid off in a few years. But he and I will sit down and take a look at, the balance that we have there at the end of the year, and then, his plans for what we can and cannot buy out of that balance that's in Fire Levy 1. So you have two things that you received. One was the general fund budget. This is expenditures out of our 110 account, the general fund. This is the expenditures for the rest of the city. Water, wastewater, those items that are not general fund expenditures. So I think that explains the need for the change in the ordinance.
Any other comments? Committee okay?
These are the expenses for the other. No. Thank you.
Okay, other items. Heath.
Some of this has just been gone over. The appropriations ordinance is on agenda, the council agenda for first reading tonight, and the second reading is scheduled for 1 week from tonight for the special council meeting that President Kelly announced at the last meeting. The cleanup ordinance will be ready also for that December 22nd council meeting, and it will be presented as an emergency, requesting that you declare such and waive the rules and pass that evening. So the next council meeting, I believe, will have 4 agenda items. There will be a second reading for the budget, a second reading for the proportions ordinance that
We just went over.
yeah.
Is there any reason why we just can't waive that tonight, ordinance 89?
There's no reason
I mean,
that we can't do that.
That way the budget, we know that that's what the budget's going to be, because if we don't waive it and then we get defeated, then it really mess up the budget we're going to approve next week. So it'd be nice to know that it is, you know what I mean?
I see your point.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's really good, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you at least know what you're aiming for.
Yeah.
If no one has any problem with waiving it tonight, I don't think there's any problem with it.
I see your point.
You know, it just killed more trees, getting you a new, clean set of what we're actually doing. But
I'm just saying that
I
the general fund and the debt service, that one,
right.
if we waive it tonight and approve it, then the budget and everything gets done next week based on those figures.
I'd be happy to waive it.
Okay.
Okay, then there'll be 3 agenda items. And then lastly, I just want to share with you that I've enjoyed working with all of you. I mentioned to the mayor today that I keep finding that I'm doing things for a last time. And the council caucus meeting this one will be the last. The department head meeting today was the last. And anyway, if you see me again, I'll be coming here to complain about something. Maybe not.
Well,
You'll get over your remorse very quickly.
if you're not already aware, On the 22nd, beginning at 3:30, we're going to have a congratulatory reception here for Heath. That'll go up until 5:30, when we'll have the special council meeting and swearing in of Jay Morrow to complete Heath's term, and then we'll roll into the utilities committee meeting, Dick, after that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So please plan on stopping by a little early next Monday prior to the meeting.
It's 3:30.
Yes, 3:30 to 5:30 will be the reception for Keith.
Times Jay getting sworn in, is that in that 3:30 to 5:30 time period, or after?
It'll be during the council meeting.
During the council meeting there at 5:30.
Yeah, that council meeting, I'm guessing, will be 7 minutes in duration, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Mary, you can tell, like, the department heads, so they don't need to come unless they want to come.
I already did.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's just, yeah.
They
can come to the party, but they don't need
Sure.
to come.
Going to raise an objection?
Huh?
Going to raise an objection at 5:30?
No.
Keith, I want to thank you for obviously all of the time that you served the city, both as a council person and as the auditor. And in particular, I want to thank you for the time, the last 5 years that you've spent with me. I can't tell you how I can imagine how frustrating it was to get probably what was some stupid questions, coming from me, and I can't thank you enough for the support that you gave me, and it was a pleasure working with you, and I'm going to miss you.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Not going to seem
I
like
don't
the same
remember
place.
stupid questions. Yeah. Thanks for the kind words.
You're welcome. Well deserved. Thank you.
Anything else?
Should we have a group hug?
That's next Monday. That's
Next Monday. 5:30. 5:30.
I'm good with Bob as long as he helps me load my occasional golf team.
Oh, okay.
How many times have I bet you we've won more than we've come in second, or worse.
Right. Anything else for Finance Committee?
Like golf out.
We will adjourn at 6:37.
You want to take a break or get ready to talk us and get it over with?
We could take a break. I need to clarify with Jenna the appointments on the transit board, because Dick was bringing up the question, and I had her handle this, and so I didn't really. She said, if you didn't know, Jenna's grandmother died last week. Saturday was the calling hours, and today was the funeral. So she's been out. She was out today. She was out quite a bit towards the end of the week last week. So I didn't really get a chance to circle the wagons with her on this, and I need to get something cleared up.
Do you want to wait till like 7 o'clock to have caucus? Or?
Yeah, I'm going to try to call her here in just a little bit, see if I can get hold of her.
We'll take a break until 7 o'clock then.
Yeah, let me throw out too that Becky McComb left Saturday morning for New Mexico. Her brother unexpectedly passed away. And so she
was very kind enough to, after initially getting the news and not being here Wednesday, she was very kind enough to come in on Thursday and Friday last week and help us make sure that these documents were all good to go, and continuing to work on that cleanup ordinance before she left. So, but to keep her,
I'm going to guess 10 o'clock.
Oh, you're that late?
That's my guess.
I just want to ask her.
She is retired, sort of.
Hey,
Semi.
Kind of like you, bud.
I was checking on a neighbor. I went checking on a neighbor today. Wayne, that used to have Wayne's barbershop on the far stand. They just recently had to transfer him from this nursing home right here.
Chapel Grove?
Yeah, Chapel Grove over to the one on